Will you pray with me? Almighty God, we come once again to have you speak to our hearts. So may the words of my mouth and the meditation of all of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O God, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. I want to talk to you about post-1960s Quebec, Canada. It was an era that was considered postmodern, post-traditional, and post-Catholic. Well, don't turn it down too far, Paul. I have to be able to see. Until the 1960s, Quebec was a traditional Catholic society and culture. It was made up of large families that were said to be characterized by fidelity, care, and loyalty. It was a Christ-centered, church-centered Catholic faith, and the church, until the 1960s, was considered as important as the government, as was a Catholic education. But then along came La Révolution Tranquille, the quiet revolution. It ushered in an era of pride in the French language and the French culture. It led to the democratization of political and social institutions. And part of that, the quiet revolution, was the loss of interest in the Catholic Church. Now, when my mother and I visited Quebec City, the last time we were there, we worshiped at the oldest English-speaking Protestant church in North America, First Presbyterian Church of Quebec City. Maybe there were 20 people that worshiped in this beautiful historic building. Of course, that decline in church membership is present everywhere, but it seems to be especially so up in that part of Canada, in Quebec. Denis Arcand, the producer of the film that we're going to watch today, Jesus of Montreal, was a cutting-edge filmmaker in the 1980s. He made a film called The Decline of the American Empire in 1985. There was a stinging criticism of Quebec society, which he accused of having sold out to the worst aspects of dominant American culture, of having surrendered its distinctiveness and become a colony of the American Empire. That's against us. But it was also against what was going on in Quebec in the 1960s and 70s. 4 years later, he turned his attention to the mass media, the culture industry, the world of advertising, and the church. Lloyd Baugh was a professor of film studies and theology at Gregorian University in Rome, and he wrote, Jesus of Montreal announces the good news of salvation, a hope embodied in the life and death of the young actor-director Daniel Coulombe, and his identity and the function as a Christ figure. And this is the movie we're looking at today that was written in response to the cultural loss of identity, of the Catholic identity in Quebec in the 60s and 70s. The movie is set at a Catholic shrine in Montreal that was in need of updating its Passion Play, a play that had been putting on for over 40 years at Mont Royal, the hill in the middle of the city of Montreal, where there's this Catholic shrine. Now here's a fun fact. Arcand, the producer, was an avowed atheist who once directed TV soap operas, conceived of this film when he auditioned an actor for his movie Decline of the American Empire. He apologized for his beard, required by Arcand, explaining that the only job he could find was playing Jesus in a nightly tourist pageant. During the day, he auditioned for commercials and erotic movies. Intrigued, Arcand went to watch the young actor playing Jesus on Mont Royal. I watched these struggling actors in a ridiculous, outdated play. As I kept thinking of them, Jesus of Montreal started growing. Now the clerk at the shrine, the priest of the shrine, Père Leclerc, hires Daniel Coulombe to modernize the play that he himself had written 35 years before. Now Daniel doesn't know much about Jesus, and so he sets out to research who Jesus was and to discover who the historical Jesus is. Having been encouraged to do so by, this unknown biblical scholar.
First, you have to understand that the faculty of theology here is financed in turn by the Archdiocese. It's a bit different in Germany or Holland. We're not at liberty to say what we want, in public anyway.
Well, like what, for example?
There have been a whole lot of new discoveries recently in archaeology, ever since Israel annexed the new territories as well as There's the analysis of old texts by a computer. That's just fabulous. There's also the new translations of the Talmud. We're just beginning to understand just who he was.
Jesus?
Yes. I've made copies of some of those writings.
Thanks.
I'd appreciate your never mentioning writing, please. You would get me into serious trouble. You're an actor. You're free to see whatever you want.
Are you searching for Jesus?
In a way.
He's the one who will find you, friend.
Yeah, sure.
You might wait for a while.
And so he sets out to hire a team to help him do this play. Daniel, like I said, I want you to notice the phrase from the librarian. She said, you're seeking Jesus, but Jesus is the one who seeks you. Remember that as the play goes on. Just by the way, if you're watching this and you're wondering why the subtitles are not matching, the movie was made in French. So the subtitles are direct translations of the French, but I'm using the English dub. And so they dubbed it so the mouth movement would match a little better. So that's why you're being thrown by the translations being off from the dubs. So anyway, he recruits his 4 additional actors. Constance, an actress who works in a soup kitchen and who had done the play before. Muriel, an actress who works in TV commercials, scantily clad, shall we put it. Martine, another voice actor, and Renee, another actor doing voiceover work for an astronomy show. Together, they toss out the old script and come up with something new. Now, this play that they come up with, this new version of the Passion Play, is extremely well received. But the authorities, Père Leclerc's superiors, well, they don't like it. Let's watch a little bit of it.
You have been told, do not perjure yourself. I say to you, do not swear at all. Let your word be true. If you say yes, let it be yes. If you say no, then let it be no. Anything else comes from the evil spirit. Mark these words, you legislators, because you're loading the people with burdens impossible to bear. And you've never touched any of these loads, let alone offered to help those who carry them. Beware of priests who like to dress in long robes and receive greetings to be shown respect in public, and occupy the best places in the temple and the best of all chairs at banquets, and who will take advantage of widows and fake saying long prayers. Their punishment will be all the worse for their hypocrisy. Whoever wishes to become tall amongst men shall one day be your servant. Whoever wishes to be the first amongst men shall one day be a slave to all. Don't have others call you by the name of Rabbi, or Reverend Father, or Monsignor, or Eminence, because you have but one Master who sits in heaven, and you are all brothers.
By the end of his life, it is clear they were very numerous, all those who were impatient to have Jesus crucified.
And so you can see that this movie that they don't like. And so they send in the authorities to arrest him, to stop this show from going on, because Daniel and his team has taken the traditional words, the traditional 7 stations of the cross, and have turned them into this quoting of Scripture, but also looking at who the historical Jesus was. And so they did not like what they were seeing. They wanted to go back. And they sent these people to arrest Daniel and to get him to stop what he's doing. And the crowd gets so caught up in his performance that they try to stop the police from coming and stopping the show. And this one large man comes in, rushes in to try to stop the police from doing their thing, ends up tackling one of the police officers and knocking over the cross that Daniel is hanging on. And of course, he's helpless up on this cross. The cross comes down and he lands on his head and he receives a massive head injury. So of course the place stops. And they send for an ambulance. And the ambulance comes and first takes them to St. Mark's Hospital. And St. Mark's Hospital is an interesting vision of how Jesus was received how this play was being received by the Christian community. The hospital is so full of people that there's absolutely no room for him. So he's sitting in the hallway and being ignored by the nurses and the doctors that are there. And eventually he sits up and says, I don't feel so bad. And so he gets up and he leaves the hospital against medical advice. And they walk down to the subway because, of course, they don't have a car. So for them in order to get home, they need to go down into the subway underneath the city of Montreal. And there's this interesting scene where Daniel becomes an apocalyptic Jesus talking to people about the end of times and reflecting what Jesus did when he said, woe to you, and flee into the mountains when the end of times come. In the basement, down in the where the subway is, he collapses again. And it's interesting, the same ambulance comes, picks him up, and they say, don't take him back to St. Mark's, there's no room for him there. So they take him at that point to the Jewish hospital. The hospital that is outside of what he is, outside of Christianity that he's trying to portray. To this Jewish hospital, and not only is the Jewish hospital outside of what he is, it's also the English-speaking hospital. And the play shifts, the movie shifts from French to English at that point. So it's this totally alien place. And there, he dies from his injuries. He succumbs to his injuries. And the doctor asks the two women who are with him, does he have a family? He doesn't have a family. And he asks, can we harvest his organs? He's young. So many people could carry on, could live on from harvesting his organs. And so they harvest his organs. And I was going to show you that scene, but I thought it might be a little too gruesome. But the picture that is there is of him lying on a table with his arms outspread as they go in to do the surgery. But I couldn't show you that one. But this one is what happens because of the sacrifice that he did.
Mr. Rigby, you have a beautiful new 30-year-old heart. What do you say?
I'm so happy. And the idea is performing company is memory, you see. A theater called Daniel Coulomb. Naturally, it would have to be a legally constituted body with a president and so on. I don't know, Martin, you could be the first president, for instance. Well, sounds like a good way of continuing.
Well, I'd be interested, but on condition you remain faithful to the kind of work he was exploring.
Right. And on condition that the type of theater we do is not commercial.
Well, that's the point, naturally. Believe me, I've always been convinced profitability does not borrow research. On the contrary.
Excuse me.
La vida, hermano. Quante vite?
4. 2.
Va bene.
Grazie.
That sense of loss and the embodiment of Jesus' life that we see in Daniel Coulomb in this film, Jesus of Montreal. Throughout the film, we see Daniel and his troop eventually come to live out the very life of Jesus, to embrace all that Jesus was, to reflect who Jesus was in their own life. And someone asked me that last scene when Muriel is walking out onto the patio, what does that mean? What's the significance of that? And I think of the end of the Gospel of Mark, the shorter end of the Gospel of Mark, when the women come to the tomb and Jesus is not there. They just run away and the Gospel ends. We don't see the resurrection. I think that is what's happening when Muriel leaves. She can't believe what's happening. You'll notice that they put together this avant-garde theater to maintain but to follow what he really did. The writers of the Gospels likewise reflected and told the story of who Jesus was to reflect who he was. Notice that these actors, these 5 actors, are all from the bottom parts of society. You have the actress who works in the soup kitchen serving others. You have Muriel, the actress who sells her body to sell products, to be an advertisement. And the actor dubbing films that are, well, movies that most of you shouldn't watch. And the actor with the grandiose ideas. They discover that in the course of discovering who Jesus was, in the course of doing this play, their lives have been changed. Their lives have been changed because of their encounter with Jesus Christ. One writer said, all these extreme life-changing events which the characters experience successfully mirror the lives of people in the gospel. Again and again, contact with Christ not only proves to be life-changing, but it's transformative in such a way that the person cannot imagine returning to the life that they lived before. None of those 4 remaining actors could go back to what they'd seen before. Jesus is portrayed as the one who changes others through love and acceptance. Jesus found Danielle and changed them. Jesus found the other 4 actors and changed their lives. So that brings me to this point. Are we following the Jesus of culture, or are we following and emulating the Jesus of history and the Jesus of the Gospels? The Jesus who loved and accepted everyone. Are we that kind of loving and accepting people? Are we willing to risk ourselves so that others may live? I ask you, friends, let us live our lives as authentic followers of this loving, caring Christ. Let us reflect who he is in all that we do. Will you pray with me? Gracious and loving God, we thank you for calling us to be your people. Help us to live our lives reflecting who you are, the goodness that you had, the love that you had for all of creation and all of humanity. Help us to live our lives in that way. We know that you will do these things as you send Spirit into each one of us and empower us. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.